Alright y'all, welcome back to Retro ReWire. My name is JJ. We're back for another In the Hunt at Retro Game Trader in Hillsboro. And as you can see, the main aisle is just loaded with Nintendo Switch games. Switch games for days, just like their sister store out in Beaverton. And I think this location has more in stock. But you know, we have Garfield Kart Furious Racing next to Gas Guzzlers Extreme. There's a lot of quirky racing games for the Nintendo Switch. And then we have Gunlord X, which I actually ended up picking up this copy as it has been on my hit list for a couple years now, and I'm happy to have that in my collection. But look at all these games here, all these limited editions, collector's editions. You know, we have World of Goo. And I'm going to be honest, a lot of these games, I have no idea what they are. Like Trover Saves the Universe. Of course, I know what Sonic Colors is, but there's just so many games, like Story of Seasons, Letter to Someone, I don't know. R-Type Final 2, I've done an unboxing on that, so I definitely know that one. But it's just kind of great to see all these games that I've, like this Beethoven business. What's going on there? Just this system is so healthy in regard to content. It's just oodles and oodles of games. You know, we have Nightmare Boy. I seen that on the eShop, as well as Mummy Demastered. I actually own a digital copy of that. But it's great to see all these quirky little games on the Nintendo Switch. It's just so much. And we have Shantae the Pirate's Curse for $5.99, about $600. That's definitely new to me. Anyhow, feel free to pause, as there's so many great games here, like the Unicorn Princess. I'm telling you, there's just so many quirky games on the Nintendo Switch, and these guys definitely have it in stock. But we have Toki and Toe Jam and Earl back in the groove for $79. Had no idea that Toe Jam and Earl got a new game on the Switch, but it doesn't surprise me. We have Blazing Chrome, Bloodstained, and of course Axle City Racers. More quirky racing games for the Switch. Anyhow, subscribe. It really helps out the channel. Let's keep the show going, and we're going to do Xbox. And as you can see, this whole aisle, this whole back wall is dedicated to Xbox platforms. So I couldn't just gloss it over this time around. We got to show what they have in stock, because it's just Xbox galore. I mean, goodness, look at all that. And they even have some original hardware, of course, for sale. And I haven't seen these boxes in freaking years. So it's definitely the nostalgia was hitting me when I was filming this particular section. But anyhow, OG Xbox, let's take a look. And I gotta say, this collection here, the Sega GT and Jet Set Radio Future, definitely worth it. I haven't beat Jet Set Radio Future, which is kind of a shame, but you know how the backlog goes. It's just inundated, overflowing. But we got the Halo titles that really strengthened the Xbox platform. We have Indigo Prophecy, which I believe that was a multi-platform release by Quantic Dream. And then, of course, Capcom Classics Collection, just like on the PS2. Definitely worth it on the Xbox. And then we have this Bloody Roar Extreme. Had no idea that Bloody Roar made its way onto the Xbox platform. And, of course, the Burnout games, the freaking awesome games. And Ninja Gaiden Black, that one's definitely a pinnacle, a staple in action hack and slash games, especially of the 3D generation. But that Midway Arcade Treasures 2, definitely regret not picking that one up, as it does include Mortal Kombat 2 and 3. But look at all these 360 titles. Freaking insane in the brain. And you know, the 360 was freaking hardcore successful in the US. And this is no joke. This is a testament to that success. Anyhow, let's take a closer look. And we have the Left 4 Dead titles, which have 4K assets if you're playing on the Xbox One X or Series X, as does Ninja Gaiden 2 and the Orange Box. All three of those games are freaking awesome and definitely worth playing. And then we have Dark Void. I believe that was by Capcom, and kind of a quirky little title. And then we have Dante's Inferno. This is a hack and slash game that I've been wanting to play for years. Similar vibes to God of War, but I'm sure it has things that make it unique. And then, of course, Mass Effect 3. Kind of a big box there. And, of course, Resident Evil. Have a huge bias towards that series, so I'm always going to really show it. Anyhow, we have the Call of Juarez games. I wonder if those are any good. There's 3 titles in the series, so, you know, that says something. And then we have the Halo Reach limited edition console for $199. That thing looks mean. Anyhow, let's make our way to the Xbox One. And I gotta say, currently, this is my preferred platform for, I guess, between, you know, PlayStation 5 and Series X, Xbox One, PS4. I kind of prefer the Xbox One there, but it always hasn't been that way. Anyhow, Dead Rising, freaking masterpiece of a game. In fact, I love that game so much. Ended up picking up 2, 3, and 4. And of course, they went right into the backlog. But here we have more Resident Evil action for you. Soak it up. It's freaking awesome, that franchise. But here we have Wolfenstein: The New Order, and what do we have there? Young Blood. I haven't tried that one out yet, but definitely would like to. And then we have some Lego games with a bunch of Just Dance games. And in between that, sandwiched in between, we have Killer Instinct, which is a title that I definitely would like to play as I love my fighting games. And then we have Alien Isolation for $19. I would have picked that up, but I had the PlayStation 3 version. But anyhow, speaking of PlayStation, let's get on with the PS1. They had a number of titles that I ended up picking up, which I showcased in the previous pickups video that I released. So definitely check that out. But we have Tony Hawk's Pro Skater for $25. I would have picked that up, but I have the Dreamcast version and there's no reason to double dip. You know how it goes. And then we have Vagrant Story for $119. That's one that I regret not picking up, as that game seems to have a mature storyline. But a lot of great PlayStation 1 games. We have some Xenogears for $169. That game's only going to rise in value. Or not, you know, sometimes they do tend to go down. But we have Gex for $35. I actually ended up picking that one up, as well as the 3D iterations. And then we have Metal Gear Solid VR missions, Metal Gear Solid, and Monopoly, and all sorts of baseball goodness. Anyhow, let's go and take a look at the PlayStation 2 titles here. Quite a healthy stock of games for the PS2. And I mean, what are they got? High Rollers Casino, that's definitely new to me. And of course, the Capcom Classics collection, just like on the Xbox. Definitely worth picking up. And then a couple of Bloody Roar games, Part 3 and Part 4, and Blood Omen, of course. Definitely would like to try out those Bloody Roar games. And then the Batman games. Tried out Vengeance, but not the other one. We have Fatal Frame 2 and 3 next to the Battle Archive Fatal Fury games. A lot of great games, man, for the PS2. Anyhow, let's make our way to the PlayStation 3. Freaking love this console. In fact, it's my console of choice for the 7th generation of home consoles. Freaking great system with loads of games. And like this Duke Nukem Forever, that game is so hilarious. A little raunchy, but you know, if that's your thing, definitely give it a go. And then of course Mass Effect. I ended up playing Part 2 and 3 on the PS3. 3 was a little bit sluggish, but 2 was good. And then we have Killer is Dead for $56. That one's definitely going up in value, as is Killzone Trilogy, and Shadows of the Damned for $79. Of course, we have your Silent Hill games. We have the HD Collection and Downpour. I think they're just missing Homecoming, but pretty good assortment there. Now let's go ahead and do PlayStation 4. This is another great system, and it has as many games, if not more, than the freaking Nintendo Switch. I mean, they're pretty neck and neck with how much they're getting released. And we're going to show some Resident Evil. Not going to show too much PlayStation 4 this time around, but anyhow, let's make our way to the PS Vita and the PSP. Freaking legendary handheld consoles from Sony. Freaking love both of these immensely. And yeah, I haven't picked up any games actually for both of them for quite some time. But as you can see, Mortal Kombat, I should have picked that up. We have the Resistance, Smart As, and Soul Sacrifice. Played the demo to that, and that one seems kind of interesting. Not really my cup of tea. I gave it its due, but I just couldn't get into it. But definitely beautiful looking game. And then of course, there's no shortage of Lego games for the Switch, as well as Killzone Mercenary. That game's a freaking showcase on the Vita, and I'm currently playing through that one. But just so many great Vita games. We have Hot Shots Golf World Invitational. That one's super fun. Rayman Origins leaves a little bit desired because they kind of forced the touchscreen controls. So I'm not really too much into that particular release of the game. But Street Fighter Cross Tekken is freaking awesome on the Vita. And of course, Persona 4 Golden for $69. Anyhow, PlayStation Portable. We have Castlevania, the Dracula X Chronicles. Freaking love that series. And Persona 3 Portable $299. That one's definitely rising in value, and I had no idea. I believe that one is available digitally, or it was at one point. And then we have Darkstalker Chronicle for $49. That one's kind of slowly rising in value. But we have Mega Man X Maverick Hunter for $22. Definitely worth it, especially with all its anime stuff in there, or its little short movie. And then we have Valkyria Chronicles 2 for $39. Freaking have a digital copy of that, but haven't played it yet. And then we have Silent Hill Shattered Memories next to Lunar. Some heavy-hitting PSP games. let's go ahead and take a look at the epic Sega Genesis. I kind of glossed this system over in the previous video at the other Retro Game Trader, and I totally regret that. But we'll have a slightly closer look at what they have in stock. You know, definitely feel free to pause, but we have Maximum Carnage for $39. I wonder how that one holds up to the Super Nintendo version. But we have Panic on Funkatron with Toe Jam and Earl, Shadowrun, and Shinobi 3. A lot of heavy-hitting games there. And some that are not so heavy-hitting, like this Bob and Bubsy. Those are kind of like B-tier games, but, you know, they could be fun. And I'm just going to gloss over the Nintendo and Super Nintendo consoles here. I kind of focused on those in the previous video, but as you can see, they have quite a bit in stock. As the same with the Dreamcast. They have a small little section here. Small, but, you know, there's some heavy-hitting games and full of hardware, as you can see. And, of course, they also have quite a bit, or not quite a bit, but they have a bit of Sega Saturn. This is a freaking awesome system. Currently, I think I'm good with my Sega Saturn collection. There's just a few Japanese versions or releases, exclusive releases that I would like to pick up. But anyhow, Nintendo, GameCube, we just got to keep this show moving because there's just so much. And of course, guys, I'm not showing everything that they have in stock. They have quite a bit more than what I'm showing here. Anyhow, let's take a look at some GameCube games. We have the Call of Duty games, which were freaking awesome on the GameCube, as well as Dragon's Lair 3D and that 18-wheel American Trucker. And of course, Resident Evil for days. The GameCube is no slouch when it comes to that. But anyhow, we have the airship from Super Mario. It's kind of cool to see this little toy set. And then, of course, the Nintendo 64. We have Army Men Sarge's Heroes. That game was freaking awesome. But I have more experience with playing it on the Dreamcast. In fact, I don't think I've ever played the 64 version, but I'm sure it's just as good. But as you can see, just loose carts for days. We have Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2 there in the yellow cart, and the WCW games are freaking awesome on the Nintendo 64. And then here we have Turok, of course, Yoshi's Story. These boxed games like this Doom 64, they all look to be in awesome freaking condition. But as you can see, more goodness here. We have Zelda in the gold cart there for $139, Mega Man 64 there for $85, and Mortal Kombat Trilogy for $49. I always forget that Trilogy got a 64 release. And as you'll see, they'll have the perfect accessory for that Mortal Kombat Trilogy, but we have some more boxed games and more loose games for days. And definitely a big thank you to the staff there for opening up the case so we can get a closer look here at what they have. And definitely feel free to pause. But here at the bottom, they have a joystick, which is new to me. And this would be probably the way to play Mortal Kombat Trilogy. I had no idea the 64 got one. Anyhow, we have Neo Geo CD, Panasonic 3DO, as well as a few other legacy consoles. Let's take a closer look at some of these. We have the TurboGrafx 16. Now, this is a system that I recently picked up. I picked up the Japanese PC Engine, and I gotta say, man, I did myself a favor by picking this thing up, as it is freaking awesome. Just a lot of great titles like this Devil Crush. Although I've heard about this game, I've known about it for years, I haven't played it. But then we have the headache-inducing Virtual Boy. I have played one of those and didn't experience the headache, but of course I wasn't playing it for that long. But we have the ColecoVision, Ataris, and a few other Intellivisions, a few other legacy consoles back when the US was reigning supreme in the home video game market. We have Popeye there, and then we have the Jaguar 64 with Zool 2. I played the first Zool, but I wonder how that one stacks up on the Jaguar. And then we have the Atari Lynx. Look at this bad boy. We have a screenshot of ReWire there, and we have a Model 1 and a Model 2. I'm not actually sure which one's which, but that one at the forefront is heavy. Look how thick that bad boy is. My goodness. I've actually I don't think I've ever held one. I can't remember, but I'm sure with the batteries and everything, that thing is probably heavy. But they got an interesting selection of games here, like that Ninja Gaiden, Rygar, Slime World, Road Blasters. So they have an interesting selection of gaming library there. But here we have some hardcore retro gaming. This is the Atari 2600 and another one that's probably even more old, as you can see by the wood veneer. Anyhow, that's going to do it for today's episode. A big thank you to everybody at the Retro Game Trader stores. My name is JJ. Thank you for watching Retro ReWire, and I hope to see you all very, very soon. Ciao.